next speaker is Lynn Gallagher, the CEO of Telecom Telematique, a research firm and consultancy firm in telecommunications, especially in developing countries. He's a veteran in this industry, has been in the field for more than 25 years, has published extensive reports and projects for the US TDA, the World Bank, and the UN agencies. She wrote a very influential report way back in 1999 called Telecommunications in Action, which is when I first came across Lynn and her work. She's a specialist these days in e-government and public-private partnerships. Will you all please welcome Lynn Gallagher?
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much to Business Excellence for inviting me to come. We've known each other for a number of years, and I've followed the work of your writings and your research, and I'm pleased to be back in South Africa. I was here for the UN Development Conference on Sustainable Development and for the ITU regional meetings, and I'm very pleased to be back here now. Our company has been working in development for telecommunications in emerging markets and developing countries for about 20 years, starting in Africa with the ITU back in the late 80s, and then I was with Sprint International for a few years as Director of Regulatory Affairs, where we were doing joint ventures for building out data networks, X25 packet switch networks, if you remember those days. And the private partnerships then were with BOTs. So the work that we've been doing in the policy and regulatory area and infrastructure of fiber networks, wireless networks, and then in applications, we began working about 5 years ago in e-government in Central Asia, and we're very pleased to be able to participate this past year as the transaction advisors for the World Bank project on e-government in Ghana, which is part of the Ghana program. The right click. The e-Ghana project is, as is the e-Rwanda and other projects, a program looking at the application of ICTs in education and health, the broad view, but they have a special program in e-government. And we were selected to be the transaction advisors to the government of Ghana there for the applications particularly. So we conducted the feasibility study, and we're advising on the procurement now. In the process, we did industry soundings, talking to the international industry to let them know that this program was coming. We've developed the bid documents, which I delivered last week into Accra, and they will be issued in early May by the government. We'll be doing a pre-bid conference towards the end of May. There's a bid evaluation in August. No August holidays for the Ghanaian government. And then we'll assist with the contract negotiation. So that's sort of generally the scope of what we are doing. In the feasibility study, which we did last year and delivered in December, we did the sort of needs analysis, looking at a broad range of ministries and government agencies in Ghana who would be ready to start with a bundle of applications to get an integrated strategy for Ghana to launch e-government in a systemic, broadly integrated fashion with a bundle of applications on a common platform and with shared infrastructures and solutions. The applications and the agencies that we identified were primarily in the revenue-generating agencies. We, in the feasibility study, did identify the solution options and the technical outputs that were required of the agencies. The IT and e-government experts that I have on my team spent weeks in Accra working with the different agencies, creating a project team, both of the IT experts and the operations managers, to really identify which the requirements were for each of the agencies, and then looking at the agencies across the board. We also did the due diligence about the legal aspects, regulatory matters, the institutional capacity, the stakeholder involvement, and the social-economic dimensions of this e-government program. The finance guy on my team did a remarkable job of building a model looking at the public-private partnership option as opposed to a public sector comparative. Did the economic evaluation, doing the various risk assessments and different models which we have reviewed with the government of Ghana, and they feel very comfortable, and we believe also that the private sector will feel very comfortable. So this public-private partnership, as George points out, is a program that will bring the private sector expertise, technology, know-how to bear on the critical issues of e-government for Ghana. Yes, let's see. I may have pushed the wrong button here. Yeah, it's, okay. Let me just, I think there's one slide we missed that would be helpful to you. So the agencies that we selected for this initial rollout are the Internal Revenue Service and the Value-Added Tax, which are the major parties here, together with the Revenue Generating Governing Board, which is the coordinating body, a large taxpayer unit which covers all the large corporations and enterprises in Ghana, and the Register General's Department, which registers businesses as well as weddings and other things, but issues the TIN numbers, the taxpayer identification numbers, and this is a critical component. Throughout the planning process, the customs people were also participating with us. They have their own public-private partnership underway now, but will be integrated into this, as will the driver's licenses and automobile registration and land registration when that's ready. Though I wanted to call your attention to some of the shared services that we're looking at. The data center, broadband wide area networks. Our procurement will include both the applications as well as the business process, the engineering and the change management, but also an interim wide area network and an interim data center until the permanent ones are procured. We require a request for identity service, a shared GIS service, a report and query services, payment and cashiering interface with banks, e-government, SMS notification systems, appointment and scheduling systems, web statistics, portal reporting, and live chat web services to enable citizens and businesses to interact with the government. This PPP is we selected among the different options, design, finance, build, operate, and transfer mechanism. We studied a number of models looking at what would perhaps give some history and support to this approach. We studied particularly the Virginia Tax Authority and the AMS, now CGI AMS, joint venture public-private partner. And this was a very useful model, because one of the concerns about the government of Ghana, it wanted the public-private partnerships that would end, that there would be an exit strategy for both parties after the private sector recouped its investment plus interest. So we looked at the VA tax, and they signed their program about 10 years ago in this contract, and they financed the hardware, the software, and the services. They were contracted to do the re-engineering of the business processes and the replacement of the entire technology platform. The private partner, AMS, was to recover its investment from the resulting new tax revenues. They were identifying underpayers and non-payers, pursuing those, and enhance the revenues. just some of the numbers that may be of interest to you. The contract was signed for $122.9 million plus 10% interest. The revenues were deposited in a technology partnership fund. There was the revenue split initially was 90% for the private partner, 10% for the state, and in 2004 that ratio changed to 70-30, and in fact there was no requirement for additional revenues to be deposited after 2004. The total revenues accrued to the Technology Partnership Fund by June of 2004 was $231 million. $190 million went to the private partner, AMS. $37 million went to the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia. The excess funds of $21 million were transferred to the state's general fund. And the private sector made substantial investments and was able to recover its cost plus interest. The payment arrangements that we have proposed to the government of Ghana is essentially a deferred payment, performance-based procurement, quite similar to what I've just described that the VA tax did, where there'll be upfront funding by the private sector to design, install, and operate the initial period of this system. We want a private sector partner who will create the software platform and to run all the applications that we just described for the revenue-generating agencies plus the TIN registration agency. They will receive the financing cost with an equitable return on their investment plus the interest. If there is a slowness of revenues coming to a special escrow fund, they would accrue additional interest. But they would be repaid from this special repayment account that is being established out of the incremental revenues to the government of Ghana, which would be attributed to the system. That will exclude additional revenues that would come in from finding oil, producing oil, or other major mineral resources. But the private partner will have an option to continue under a management contract after it has recouped its investment up to a period of a total of 7 years. We expect that the investment will be recouped after 3 to up to 5 years. I'll skip over this. We're just looking at some of the issues on new organizational structures for e-government. We're working closely with the World Bank people who are looking at how to structure e-government to get maximum efficiencies. Some of the benefits that we believe are being brought to the government from this public-private partnership will be transferring major risks from the government of getting a system and not having it work, of not increasing the revenues, etc. The private partner has incentives to deliver the best solutions that will increase the revenues. In the bid document that I delivered last week, we've identified what the technical outputs are, and we're asking the industry to propose the technical solutions. Then they will be able to select the best solution. It would be an integrated solution in which it's not just the technology, but it's also a lot about the business process re-engineering, the change management process, the training of the local government staff to operate this system after they exit. The partnership, as I say, can continue for an additional couple of years. The timetable here is that the RFP will probably be issued the first part of May. We'll have a bidders conference at the end of May, about 3 weeks later. There'll be a 90-day period, which I've been very insistent upon, for bids to be prepared and submitted. So the month of August, we'll be doing the evaluation of these bids, which we expect will come from consortium of systems integrators, software companies, some providers of connectivity, as well as a data center, and local Ghanaian partners. In September, we will be negotiating the contract with the successful bidders. I was asked to just give some action items to you so quickly that it's important, I think, to start looking at identifying the agencies that are ready to go, develop a preliminary list of common applications, sketch out an integrated system for an organizational structure that would be able to operate e-government, brainstorm how the business processes could be modified to leverage the power of the new systems and to better serve the citizens, and talk with colleagues in government about how to approach change management. The bidders are requesting their bid documents from GetTech, the agency, and the Ministry of Communications in Ghana, and that's it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lynn, for a very good in-depth case study of how this whole PP thing may actually work and how to make it successful for other partners as well. Any questions, comments from the audience? If not, a round of applause again, Lynn.
Thank you very
please
much.
do catch her in the break just after this.